Hello everybody, my name is Alex Shrednozlak and I'm a film critic at Filmbook. Today, I'll be reviewing the 2020 war thriller, Greyhound. Greyhound was written by Tom Hanks and directed by Aaron Schneider. The film stars Tom Hanks, Stephen Graham, Rob Morgan, Elizabeth Shue, and Carl Glusman. Hanks plays an experienced Navy captain leading a convoy to Liverpool early during World War II. However, the convoy begins being stalked by German U-boats once they reach an area in the Atlantic that isn't protected by air support. This is the first time Hanks' character has been in combat, so he has the difficult task of getting his convoy to safety. This was a movie that was scheduled to come out in theaters, but was obviously pushed back because of the pandemic. This is one of the first big releases for Apple TV+. This movie definitely feels very cinematic, so it's kind of a shame that it didn't come out in theaters. This movie is heavily flawed, but I feel like a lot of the target audience that would go to see this movie would definitely enjoy it. So let's go ahead and start with some pros. Tom Hanks is really good in this movie, but I don't feel like he's so good in this movie where he's outdone any of his previous performances. This movie pretty much just feels like a good Tom Hanks performance and not much else beyond that. All the other actors do well with the material that they're given, but I'm gonna have to say that's one of the first flaws of this movie. They honestly don't have much to work with. There's pretty much no characterization with any of the characters in this movie. You're given very minimal information, and the script and the movie just kind of expect you to empathize with all of these characters because of the situation that they're in. Which, granted, this event definitely did happen in real life, and, you know, everybody who was a part of that are definitely heroes. But in the language of cinema, it doesn't always work for me. For a movie that's pretty much 90% CG, I would say that it was pretty well done. I could definitely tell everything beyond the boat was pretty much CG, but it's not so obvious that it's distracting. One thing that kind of felt odd with this movie is that it pretty much only takes place inside of the convoy that Hanks is in. So we really don't see the enemy from their perspective at all. I feel like that kind of takes away a lot of the tension. I mean, anytime that the enemy shows up, we just see them from a distance attacking. So, I mean, I guess you can look at it as kind of more of a first-person perspective, but it didn't always work for me in every part of this movie. Granted, don't get me wrong, a lot of these sequences are very, very exciting, but the action is also kind of non-stop at the same time. This movie only clocks in at 90 minutes, which without the credits is only about 80 minutes. And with a war movie like this with a major actor, I feel like that's kind of a death sentence. But it sort of made sense in this movie because, like I said, it just pretty much emphasizes the action of this one event that happened in this period of time. But the movie doesn't really have any time to breathe either, which, granted, if you are on a ship like that being attacked, you're not going to have time to breathe either. But for a movie, it kind of creates a lot of pacing problems as well. You don't really have a lot of time to embrace everything that's happening on screen. So I feel like a lot of these action set pieces just kind of get lost within each other. Especially since this entire movie takes place on this boat in the middle of the ocean, it's kind of hard to differentiate everything that's happening. I feel like the direction is pretty good for the most part. Like when all of the action is on screen, at least, everything makes sense visually. So I can definitely say that's one of the better parts of this movie. And I would say the best part of this movie is probably the last 20 minutes or so. Like I said before, it's kind of hard to get into because you're not really caring too much about any of the characters. But the action at the end is exciting enough to where, you know, it kind of keeps you on the edge of the seat as well. As you can tell, I have a lot of mixed thoughts about everything that happens in this movie. So I'm going to rate Greyhound a 7 out of 10. I feel like all of the people who this movie is targeted at are really going to like it. And that's fine, but for me at least, I feel like it's going to be pretty much forgettable after the first watch. Like, I don't think this movie's going down in any history books or anything like that. I feel like this is going to end up being one of those movies you just kind of watch on TV if it just happens to be on. I saw one review say that this is going to be your grandpa's new favorite movie, and I feel like that's probably the best way to describe it. And that brings us to the conclusion of my review for Greyhound. I'd like to thank you all for watching. You can see more of my reviews on the Filmbook website. That's film-book.com. Just search for Alex Shrednozlak. You can also see other videos and reviews I've done on my YouTube channel, link in the description. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so that way you're notified as soon as new reviews are published. If you agreed or disagree with my review, definitely leave me a comment down in the comments section below. Please also consider becoming a member on our Patreon. Your support helps us create more engaging content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.